So for me, salmon is one of my favorite fish to cook and eat, as it's such a healthy protein, and if you cook it properly, it truly has the most incredible textures and flavors. Anyways, with that being said, today, we're gonna make one of the most delicious salmon recipes from Spain. We're talking salmon a la gallega. Now, this is a dish that hails from the beautiful region of Galicia, northwestern Spain, and what makes it so unique is the way the ingredients are prepped and cooked, as it's how it's traditionally done only in the region of Galicia, folks. Now, it's this recipe full of so many great flavors, but it's very easy to make, and it's all done in just 30 minutes. Let's begin by cutting 2 medium to large sized potatoes that have been peeled, washed, and patted dry, each one into thick rounds that are 1/2 inch thick, which is about 1 1/4 centimeters. Now, we're going to be boiling these potatoes, so it's important to use potatoes that are a bit more waxy than starchy. That way, while you're boiling, they hold their shape and they don't fall apart. As always, I'm using new potatoes, but you can also use Yukon Gold, Golden Delight, or even red potatoes. Once the potatoes are cut, I'm going to add them into a stock pot. And we'll fill it with some cold water. You want to go to about 1 inch above the potatoes, which is 2.5 centimeters. Then we'll season the water generously with sea salt and heat it with a high heat. While our potatoes are cooking, I'm going to grab 4 cloves of garlic, remove the skins from the cloves, and thinly slice the garlic. Then I'm going to reserve a generous teaspoon of sweet smoked Spanish paprika, which is 2.5 grams. This is one of the most important ingredients in this recipe, as it's what really flavors the entire dish. As always, the Spanish paprika I'm using is from Kiva. You'll find a link where you can get some in the description box below, and if you buy it from that link, you'll also get 25% off your order. And we'll also reserve 1/3 cup of white wine, which is about 80 milliliters. If white wine is not your thing, you can substitute it for broth. Alright, let's move back to our potatoes. It's been about 15 to 17 minutes since I turned on the heat, and at this point they should be fully cooked through. You know, you kind of want them al dente. If you overboil them, they can easily get mushy, and let me tell you, you can always tell when they're perfectly cooked al dente. You just pierce them with a toothpick, and if it easily goes in there, but with a little resistance, they are ready to go. For the next step, I'm going to start removing the slices of potato from the stock pot, shaking off any of the excess water, and transferring them over a wire rack, making sure they're on a single layer. Yes, the best that you can. And as for the water we just cooked the potatoes in, you don't want to toss this water. You set it aside, as you might need it later on in the recipe when we make the sauce. If it's a little bit too thick, you just add in a little bit of that salted water, and it's going to give the sauce a beautiful texture. For the next step of the recipe, let's start cooking the salmon. I'm going to grab a large non-stick fry pan. Important to use non-stick here with the technique we're going to cook the salmon in, otherwise it can easily stick to the surface. And I'm going to heat it with a medium-high heat. While the pan is heating, let's start getting the salmon ready. I've got a piece here of fresh salmon. This is 14 ounces, which is about 400 grams, and I'm going to pat it completely dry with paper towels. Now, to make this recipe, you can also use frozen salmon. Just make sure you fully thaw it out, and once again, pat it completely dry with paper towels to remove any of the excess moisture in the fish. Then I'm going to cut the piece of salmon into 2 evenly sized fillets. Then we'll drizzle the fillets with a little extra virgin olive oil, making sure to rub it all over the fillets, even on the skin side. And we'll season them with sea salt and freshly cracked black pepper on both sides. Once the salmon fillets are ready, I'm going to immediately add them into the hot pan, making sure they're both in a single layer. Now, the thickness of the salmon fillets I'm using are 1 inch thick in the thickest part, which is 2.5 centimeters. So I'm going to go for about 3.5 minutes per side to end up with perfectly cooked salmon. Of course, if your fillets are a little bit thinner, go for about 2.5 minutes per side. And if they're a little bit thicker, go for about 4 minutes per side. And the technique we're cooking this in is called a la plancha, very popular here in Spain. Absolutely no fat in the pan. That way that salmon keeps its beautiful natural flavor. That's why, once again, it's very important to use a non-stick pan here. After cooking the salmon fillets for about 7 minutes, once again that's 3.5 minutes per side, and they're beautifully cooked inside, I'm going to remove them from the pan and transfer them into the wire rack with the potatoes. Now, using the same pan, I'm going to lower the fire to a low-medium heat add in 1 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil, which is 15 milliliters. And immediately add in our sliced garlic. And you want to make sure to mix the garlic around continuously. The pan is very hot right now. That way the garlic doesn't brown, which can easily give it a bitter flavor, and it all evenly sautés. After about 30 seconds, I'm going to add in the sweet smoked Spanish paprika. Once again, this is a generous teaspoon, which is 2.5 grams. And we'll give this a quick mix. That way that paprika is evenly coating all the garlic. And then we'll immediately add in our 1/3 cup of white wine. And we'll give this a quick mix. That way everything's evenly mixed together, and then simmer it for just 2 minutes. This is enough time for the alcohol to cook off in the wine and for that wine to reduce in half. That way we end up with a beautiful thick sauce. After about 2 minutes, and that wine has reduced in half, this sauce is ready to go. Once again, if your sauce is a little bit too thick, just add in some of the reserved water that we cooked the potatoes in and mix it in there, and you can easily thin out your sauce. All right, let's start assembling our dish. I'm gonna add in some of the potatoes into a serving dish, making sure they're all in a single layer. And I'm not gonna season the potatoes again, as we did cook them in salted water, but if you want, you can add a little sprinkle of sea salt on top of them. Then we'll add in 1 of the salmon fillets over the potatoes. Add in some of the garlic and paprika sauce, making sure to evenly spread it out. And we'll sprinkle it with some finely chopped fresh parsley. Check it out, our Salmon a la Gallega is done. Such a beautiful salmon dish from the region of Galicia in northwestern Spain. Easy to make, came together in just 30 minutes, and it's got such a beautiful presentation. Let's give this a try and see how it tastes. All right, folks, time for the moment of truth. Let's see how this turned out. Truly, such a beautiful looking dish. One word describes it all. It's spectacular. Bravo to the folks over in the region of Galicia for creating such an incredible dish. That salmon perfectly cooked through, you smell it in your mouth. The potatoes fully cooked through, but they kept their shape. But the real winner here is that sauce with the paprika and the garlic, taking it to the next level, folks. A very classic dish from the beautiful region of Galicia. Give this a try at home, and I promise, one of the best salmon dishes of your life. Really quick before I go, shout out to a couple of my patrons, Martin Giddings, Aravinda Garimella, Robert Manahan, Linda Bufano, and Hollis Helmichi. Again, guys, thank you so much for being patrons of Spain on a Fork. You know how much I appreciate you. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to hit that like button, as it really helps out the channel. Leave me a comment below, and if this is your first time here, don't forget to smash that subscribe button and click on the bell icon. That way you can get notified every time I release new content and to become a part of the Spain on 4 kitchen. Till the next time, hasta luego. Spectacular, that's the word. Spectacular. It's kind of a funny word to say. Spectacular, but it is spectacular.